Hello, everybody. Hello. If you can hear me, if you can see me, please just indicate in the chat so that I can start. Hello, everybody. So this is 5 p.m. and we are going to start. Welcome to Yes, She Codes Without STEM. We are at the 5th live session of Go AWS with Mel, and I'm very happy to be here today. Today, we are going to continue from where we ended last time. Okay, Divine is connected and she says hello. Thank you, Divine. So, as I was saying, welcome to this 5th live session where we are going to be talking about Amazon S3. We are going to continue from where we ended last time. Okay. Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted. People are writing in the chat and then it's a little bit distracting. Okay. Onela is connected. Happy Sunday, Onela. Welcome. Thank you for connecting. I'm just going to wait for 2 more minutes and we are going to start so that I'll not be interrupted. So just indicate in the chat if you're connected. Okay, I think I'm going to start now and I'm just going to look at the chat at the end. So as I was saying, welcome to this 5th live session where we are going to continue with what we have been doing in the previous sessions. I hope you're doing great and you had a lovely week. As for me, the week was really tiring, but I'm happy I'm here today to continue this cloud journey with you. So far, the journey has been interesting, but at the same time, I really feel exhausted because I need to prepare for these sessions. And I'm happy because while I'm preparing for the sessions, I get to learn, I get to discover errors which I didn't encounter in the past, and it equally makes me to grasp the concepts more. So we are going to continue from where we ended last time. And if you're watching for the first time, I'm just going to have a quick recap so that you're not lost, so that you know exactly what we are doing here and what we are talking about. So in the last sessions, we have uploaded our static website to Amazon S3, which is a simple storage service. After uploading that, we enable the bucket for static website hosting. And AWS provided us with an endpoint which we could use to access our static website. But before we could access the static website, we had to set the policy because, as we said, by default, everything you create is private and only you as the owner have access to it. So if you want to give access to people on the internet, you need to attach a policy, and that is exactly what we did. And at the end of it, we had a URL from which people could access our static website. I shared the URL with you, and I'm going to show you the URL again. So today we are going to move a step a little bit further because the URL AWS provides for us is not friendly. If you remember, it has a AWS website and it's very long. So for me, it's not friendly and I don't want to share that kind of URL to people so that they can access my page because they're not going to remember that URL. And equally, I like AWS. I like the services they are providing, but at the same time, for security purposes, I don't want the whole world to know I'm hosting my static page on AWS because the URL has a lot of information and everybody having it will just know, oh, Melanie is using AWS to host her web page, and I don't want that. And that is the objective of this video. We are going to make that URL user friendly. We want to share a URL which people can remember. For example, you know the name of my channel already, which is Yes, She Codes Without STEM. So why not have a URL which is, for example, 𝐏𝐥𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐿.com, and instead of having the URL which AWS provides for me to go to the static website, I instead use my personalized URL. So the objective of this live session is for us to use a custom domain, that is a custom URL, to access the static website we have already uploaded in our S3 bucket. That is exactly what we are going to do right away. So that was a quick recap of what we have been doing and the objective of this live session. Let me just take a little break, drink a bit of water, and we can start. Okay. I think I talk so fast and I will need to slow down. So as I was saying, we are going to create a user-friendly domain. I'm using the word domain, and somebody might be asking, but Menen, what is domain? To be able to do what we have to do today, there are some little concepts we need to understand. Because when we are talking domain, we are already entering into networking. And if you don't have the basics of networking, it might be difficult for you to understand what I'm going to explain right now. So I'm just going to give a brief introduction about networking, specifically IP addresses and DNS name. So what is an IP address? What is an IP address? What is IP first of all? IP stands for Internet Protocol. And what is this Internet Protocol? Okay, Internet Protocol is a string, it's a name, it's just a string of characters which is used to identify any device on the network, on the internet or a private network. You have your computers, yes. Your computer has a name. If you don't know, your computer has a name. And the name of your computer is the Internet Protocol because that is what is used to access your computer via the internet. So that is the Internet Protocol. And when you type a URL on your search bar using a browser, for example, you don't use the name of the computer. You don't use the Internet Protocol, but you use a user-friendly name. Everybody knows Google, right? When you want to type Google, you just go to your search bar and you type Google. But what happens behind the scene is this Google is connected to the IP address of that particular computer, which has to give you the information. So what you need to take away from this video is the fact that the IP address is the unique name which can be used to identify your computer either on the internet or in a private network. Okay, usually these names are not friendly, and I'm going to show you in a bit what IP address looks like. They have some characters, 1, 2, 7, 2, 5, so they are not friendly. And who remembers that? Like, you know Google, but you don't know the numbers attached to Google, for example. So nobody usually remembers the number. In order to make it friendly so that people can remember how to access certain devices on the internet, that is where the domain name service system comes into play. And you will ask me, what is domain name? Okay, domain name is usually referred to as the phone book of the internet. And why is it referred to as the phone book of the internet? Because similar to your phone, if I give you my number right now, you're going to take the number, you're going to store it in your phone, and you're going to attach a name. When you want to call me, you don't need to cram the number and put the number before calling me. You just need to look for my name in your phone and you call me, right? That is the same thing when you want to apply to domain name system. Because with domain name system, what you do is we have a device, we have a computer, we have servers. They have internet protocols, like they have their IP address. But we don't want to remember the IP address. So we need a name. We need a name which is going to direct us to that IP address. And that name is the domain. So if you go, for example, to www.google.com, that is the domain name service. And it's going to direct you to an IP address which you don't usually see, but you can look for it. So that is where domain name system come into play, because it is the provider of a name which can be attached to your IP address. And these names have to be unique because we are talking about the internet. If we are talking about the internet, it means we are not supposed to have two same names for these IP addresses, because IP addresses are unique. These names are equally supposed to be unique. So you cannot have two domains with www.google.com. You cannot have two. We have just one. So all of this is just to say that today we are going to create our own domain, and this domain has to be unique. If I want to create my domain, for example, 𝐏𝐥𝐞𝐚 without stem, It has to be unique. Nobody is supposed to have this domain. And this domain is going to be linked to an IP address, or is going to be linked to another domain which is related to an IP address. I hope you get the idea. It might be a little bit confusing, but just hold on. Everything is going to make sense in a minute when we are going to have our hands on. Okay, so that is a little bit of an introduction to what networking IP addresses and domain name services are. So you have your domain name, which might be www.google.com, which is attached to an IP address. You don't need to know the IP address, but you need to know the domain name. And if you have the domain name, you can reach the information stored in a device, which is identified with an IP. So that is an introduction. The next part of this live now, I'm going to share my screen, and we are just going to continue from where we ended in the last sessions. We have hosted the static website in an S3 bucket. We have the URL or the domain name, which is not user-friendly. We want to use an Amazon service to be able to create our own domain name. Oh, sorry, I think I missed something I had to explain. The next question can be, Melen, where do I get a domain name? Given that I said domain names are unique. So who are the providers of these domains? We have many providers of domains, and you have some like Godaddy, you have OVH, you have Register. There are so many out there. So you just need to go to a provider and you purchase a domain, and the provider is going to search in its database to see that the domain you want to create is unique, because as I said, you cannot have two domains with the same name. Given that we are AWS, and AWS equally provides a service for us to create our domains, we are going to use that. And what is the name of that service? If you looked at my thumbnail very well, I guess you must know the name by now. The name of that service is Route53. Yeah, Route53 is a network. It's a network service on AWS, which allows us to create our custom domains. So that is exactly what we are going to use right now. But you can use any other external provider of your choice. For now, let's focus on Route53 and let's create our custom domain. Are we ready for that? Okay. If we're ready, I'm going to share my screen in few seconds, and we are going to do that all together. Please let me know in the comment section if you can see my screen. Okay, I guess you can all see my screen. So I have logged into my console, which is the AWS console right here. And we have our page right here, which is what we did last time. And this is the URL which Amazon provides for us. And what we want to do is we want to customize this URL, because as we said, this one is not friendly. We are going to do that using Route53. Because the creation of our domain using Route53 requires that we key in lots and lots of personal information. I recorded a video concerning that separately, and I'm going to play that video. It's not long, it's just 4 minutes. And after that, we are going to pick it up from there. As you can see, I've already logged into the console, and if you go to services and you search for Route53, you're going to land on this page. So we are going to get started. You click on get started, and once you reach here, it tells you register a domain. If you already have a domain, you're going to choose transfer domain. First thing we need to do is to register a domain. I click on that. It's already selected. Then I click on get started. Remember, this service is not free. If you want to follow along with me, you're going to pay something, and that is $12 a year. Please, it's not free. I'm repeating that again. Even if we are using the free tier account, this service is not free. And my custom domain, I would like to name it 𝐿 Okay, I check because it has to be unique. Okay, AWS is telling me my domain is unique, so I can go ahead and use that. I'm going to add to cart right here. It gives you additional information. It tells me the price is $12. That's fine. You scroll down, you click on continue. Then you have to fill in your personal detail information here. So you see here you have the contact, the first name, the last name, and all these informations have to be filled. Given that it has a lot of personal information, I'm not going to show you my information, but I'm just going to hide this screen. So when you're watching the video, don't expect to see all my personal information right here. I'll go ahead and fill that, and I'll come back for the next steps. Okay, I have filled in my personal details, and now we can click on continue. But before that, you see privacy protection here is enabled. I'm just going to leave that as such because it hides some contact details for .com domains. I click on continue. You may be having trouble receiving a verification email from us. If your email is correct, you can proceed with domain registration and wait for the email later. You must click the link in the email 15 days or the domain will become unavailable on the internet. Okay, I understand. Okay, now we need to continue with the registration process. You see here, managing your DNS for your domain, for your new domain. The first thing, do you want to automatically renew your domain? No, I'm not going to automatically renew, so I'm going to check the disable button. Now I scroll down for terms and conditions. Terms and conditions, I need to accept that. You can read that on your own. Then verification of the email. Okay, now I need to check my mail and make sure I verify it. So I'm just going to do that, and I'm going to come back here and complete my order. Okay, as you can see, it tells me the email address was successfully verified. So we can go back to the order screen and we continue the registration process. We have created our domain. As you can see, it's in the pending request. The status is domain registration in progress. Once that is done, we will be able to have our domain so that we can route our traffic using 𝐿-𝐥𝐞𝐿.com to our static website hosted on Amazon S3 bucket. That was it for this section, so we can continue. And if you go here, you're going to see I have no domains available yet. That is because it is still pending. Once the domain is no longer pending, I will be able to see it here and I can work with it.
Okay guys, so that is how you create a custom domain on AWS. So now we are going to continue from there and we will go to Route 53 because that is what we are using to create a domain. Click on Route 53 and here you have your hosted zones. But I want you to check the registered domains because when we concluded the previous video I showed you, we had nothing here. Okay, now you can see I have a registered domain which is 𝐿-𝐥𝐞𝐴𝐷.com. That is my domain, and what we are going to do now is we are going to start with the various steps needed to route traffic from this custom domain to our static website. Before we do that, I would like us to first of all go back to our S3 bucket and have a look at some things because there are important things to be noted at the level of the S3 bucket. So I'm going to come back here. I go to S3 in another tab. I go to bucket level. These are my buckets, and this is the bucket we created last time because you see 𝐏𝐥𝐞𝐿 survey form. This is the URL right here, and that is what we want to use. But there is a problem. We cannot use this bucket if we want to host our static website, if we want to redirect traffic from the domain we have here, which is mail.𝐿.com to this static website. And why can't we do that? We can't do that because AWS tells you that it must have the same bucket name. The domain, which is mail.𝐿.com, must be equal to the bucket name. If it's not equal to the bucket name, you will not be able to do that. So we are supposed to create another bucket because right now AWS does not give you any tab here to rename your bucket. It's true that you can use the CLI, the command line, to rename this bucket, but that's another procedure. But I think we should focus on what we have done so far. So we are rapidly going to create a bucket which has the same name as 𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿. And we are going to use that to be able to route traffic. I come back here. I'm going to create a bucket. The bucket has to be the same name as this, so I'm just going to copy this so that I'm not going to make any mistake. I paste it here. Frankfurt is okay for me. ACL is disabled. I'm going to scroll down. Okay, I'm going to uncheck this. You know why we are unchecking this? We already saw that in previous videos. I'm just going to leave everything default. I create the bucket. Oh, sorry, I must acknowledge here. Create the bucket. Okay, the bucket has been created, which is 𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿 I click on this bucket and I need to upload elements into this bucket. I click on Add Folder. You already know all these steps. We are just doing it in order to abide with the documentation. I upload survey form, upload. Okay, that is exactly what we had last time. I'm going to upload that. Once I've uploaded that, I'm going to go to the bucket itself. I go to Properties. From Properties, I enable website hosting, which is this one. I enable it here. Okay. Then I need to put my index.html, which is fine. I come to the permission level. I need to add a policy to this bucket. I'm just going to copy the policy we had last time. So I'm going to duplicate this page and go back to the other bucket and copy the policy from there. So this is Amazon S3. This is the bucket we had last time. This is permissions and this is the policy. I'm just going to copy this. I come here, I edit my policy. I paste the policy right here, but there is something I need to change, which is the Amazon resource name, because now it's not longer survey form, but it is 𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿-𝐿. That is fine. Then I save the changes. Once the changes have been saved, if I come back to Properties, I have my URL at the end of the page, which is this one. If I click on this, we are not going to have it 404 because in the last videos we explained this is supposed to be adjusted with survey form. Okay, everything is fine, and now we have this URL. First thing has been done. Now we can go back to Route 53 and route traffic. So to route traffic, we need to go to hosted zones. And in this hosted zone, you can see our domain right here. What is a hosted zone? Hosted zone is just a container of records. And it's going to describe how you want to route traffic from one domain to an IP address. So it's just a container. And you can have many domains inside this container. So I'm going to click on this domain. I'm going to create a record. You click on create record. But before you create a record, you can see all what has been created for me as a result of the creation of my domain. I have a name service and I have this SOA. So we are not going to concentrate on that for now. I'm just going to create a record. Okay. And what is the name of the record? I'm going to leave it default. This is what I'm going to use. So I'm not going to include any subdomain. I'm just going to use this one. And it's going to route traffic. If you select this one, you see it routes traffic to an IPv4 address or some AWS resources. We are concerned with routing the traffic to an AWS resource. That is why I'm going to click this one. And here you have to enable the alias, because right now I want to use my AWS bucket to do that. So I click on this, and here you see alias to S3 website endpoint. That is what we want to use. We have our endpoint, which is this one, as you can see, and that is what we want to do. So now I need to select the region. The region I'm going to go for Europe Central, which is this one. And you can see, because it has the same name with my domain, it can recognize that. If you create your bucket and the name is not the same as your domain name, you're not going to find it here. So I want you to take note of this, because I did it at first and I was so confused why I couldn't find it. But the reason is the names must be the same. I click on that, and that is all. I've been able to create that correctly. Now I can just click on create record. Oh, a record with the specified name already exists. That is a problem. Maybe the problem is due to the fact that I first of all tried it before with the same domain name, and it worked. So I had to cancel everything for me to do this live session. So now it's telling me it already exists. We're going to try something else. We are going to try something else. Okay. Route traffic to another domain. But now it's becoming complicated because I don't know. This one is supposed to be an IPv6 address. But is it going to work? CNAME routes traffic to another domain, or let's just use this and see if it's going to work. Choose this. Okay. Alias record to another hosted zone. There is a problem here. I'm not able to complete this live because I think I have this error because I already did that. Invalid change by try to create resource 𝐿𝐷𝐿𝐷𝐿𝐷𝐿𝐷.com. Oh my god. And what are we supposed to do now? The reason is I already created a bucket with that and now, but I cancelled it. So I don't understand why it's still saying I have it, because I cancelled it. I created it, but I cancelled it because I was preparing for the live and I wanted to make sure everything goes on smoothly. So I already did this before, but I deleted everything to start afresh with you just to show you how to do it. But it seems that even cancelling it has already saved everything, and it's a little bit, it already exists. I'm going to try that again. I don't know what the problem is. This is the bucket we just created. No, it's not working. If I add another record, and here, if I choose IPv6, then I have no possibility to put an S3 website endpoint. That is my problem. And how do we debug this? Oh, I didn't know deleting it was going to leave everything. Oh my god. Okay, let's just try something. Oh, so sorry about that. This is what happens. AWS. Okay, this is how do I troubleshoot errors that I receive while creating Route 53 resource record set using. Okay, an error occurred. So actually deleting it after creation, it's a problem. I can't find it here. Okay. I have not seen my error here. Oh, invalid batch. I'm just trying to troubleshoot that. Invalid batch, the first one, the second one, the third one. Okay, I think this is mine. You are performing the create action for the CNAME resource record set already. Okay, you are using an incorrect hosted ID for your domain name. Try to delete resource record set. Invalid batch. Try to create resource record set. I'm sorry about this. Now we just have to see how to troubleshoot that, because I didn't know when I deleted. When calling a resource, try to delete resource. Oh, this is so... Oh, I'm so mad at this situation. I don't know what to do. It already exists. Oh, how do we troubleshoot this? Oh my god, I'm so sad. It seems like we are not going to attain the objective of this video, and it's just getting me. It's just getting me mad. Yeah. Okay. If I choose another region, cannot retrieve endpoint because my bucket was not created in Europe. It was created in Frankfurt. And I have the bucket name here, but I cannot create a record. Cannot create record. I'm just going to copy this. Sorry, I already left the mistake. Select preferred list. We were already here. I don't know what to do. I need to troubleshoot this. I need to look for a way to find to troubleshoot this error, but invalid batch for when calling the change record set.
hosted zone ID. Okay, let's see. Try to create a resource. This software, but it already exists. Sorry for all this wastage of time. I think this is it. Ralph tried to create a resource. This is a GitHub. Oh, to create two record set. Let's see if this can help. I think I'm going to need more time to resolve this. Oh my god. That is because I didn't know if I create this record and I route it to my static website, it remains there even if I delete it. So while I was doing preparing for the session, I actually did everything before to make sure that everything was going to run out smoothly. But creating that already caused this problem. So what it's telling me is I cannot route traffic again using this domain name to an S3 bucket because the type A already exists for this 𝐏𝐥𝐞𝐚𝐬𝐞.com. If I want to do it, maybe if I want to modify, the fastest thing will be to buy another domain name right now and just do it. But the problem is this domain name costs money, and this morning I just created one with $12 to record the session, and yeah, things are not just going right. Oh, I'm kind of desperate, you know. When you've prepared for something for so long and yeah, it ends up like this. I think I'm going to need more time to be able to dig into this problem, and definitely we're going to have another live session on this, and I hope very soon. That is probably next week. Yeah, we're going to repeat this because I need time to debug all these errors and understand how I can delete what I initially created to make sure that it doesn't take that again. And yeah, so that was it. The objective of this video has not been attained. Anybody has anything to say? If you have questions, maybe we are just going to continue next time because I'm unable to achieve the objective and there is nothing I can do about it. We call it a day. Bye-bye. Have a nice evening.